Good to see everybody on here. Appreciate you guys jumping on. I see some of you guys on here chatting a little bit. My lovely wife Marty is over here on the computer as well.
Hello.
So she's gonna be watching comments because she'll watch them closer than me. That way I can actually watch what I'm doing here on the leather. But can somebody give me a comment, let me know that you can hear me okay. I just want to double check, make sure our volume's good. I think everything's plugged in and working good. Yep, all right, thank you, appreciate it. All right, what we're tooling on here this evening, this is a little knife sheath, little pancake knife sheath, and the leather is, it's a 6-7 ounce leather. It's more on the lighter side. It's about a 6 ounce. And this is actually straight from one of our kits. We just came out with these blank kits. So if you want to get one of these, there's a link in the description. You can click on that if you don't want to bother cutting these out yourself. That's why I went and got a clicker made, because it sucks cutting those out yourself. But anyhow,
we actually will be adding it after the live is over.
Oh, we'll be adding that link after the live is over. My bad. We'll be adding that link later. Okay, and then this right here, this pattern is from our Volume 3 tooling book. And this is kind of more of a universal little pattern here. You can use it on a lot of different things, such as a knife sheath like this. Now you might say universal, well, how is that going to work? Because this doesn't fit. It's too big for this knife sheath, right? And sometimes that happens when you're using patterns that are printed out. They're a little big for what you're using. And I'm going to show you how we're going to get around that. So this shape up here on the edge of this looks really nice. I'm going to just set that down a little ways from our top, kind of almost as a border there. Oh, I don't know if you can hear the sirens. We got a fire truck going past us here. Okay, I'm going to set my dividers here and just start to look kind of where that border's going to be. I'm going to run this out just a little bit. All right, just getting an idea. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and we're going to cut this pattern off at the bottom here. Okay, so watch me tip this up. I'm just going to lightly scribe a line here. Now in doing that, we can go right on transferring our pattern. Get this held down in place. And so the edge of that floral is going to be our border all around it, except for the bottom here. We're going to fade in a little partial border that we're going to tuck this pattern underneath. Now the tools that I'm going to be using are all straight from the Deluxe Beginners Kit. And I want to show you how we can still achieve a really nice look on this pattern using those tools. I know we've been out of stock for quite a while on them, and we got a batch in, and those sold out really quick. And we did get another batch in, so just a heads up, there are just a couple left, I think, right now. So there are a couple there on the website if you've been one of the many who's been messaging me waiting for them to come back in stock. Okay, now here at the bottom, I'm not going to transfer any of these lines all the way down to the edge, right? You can see how we stopped those right about where that bottom line is. Now even where this splits, oh, I think we're going to be able to see that split even. Yep, split's going to work out really good. Okay, so now as I go to cut this in, I'm going to cut that border line first there at the bottom. Finally able to catch live from Culver. Awesome, Kim. Every now and then I'm going to catch a comment here as I see them.
All over.
All over the place.
Yeah. California to Florida, Canada. It's really fun.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. So see how we've pulled that bottom piece right there? And I just faded a little bit past where we were on either side of that floral there. John, not replay. Good job, John. Happy to see you on here live. I love it. John usually comments replay when he's watching on the replay, so we get a not replay. Okay, now as we pull these cuts, you can see out of the points, I'm not connecting those. All right, we don't want to cause a weak spot in the leather that can lift up over time. So we're going to leave those points and we'll come back and connect those as we bevel this out. Now a little project like this is awesome. You can turn this quite a bit as you're tooling it, really easy, as opposed to a long belt or something. But as I'm turning that, that's helping me get those smooth cuts, because I can move my knife and my hand and turn that leather as we go. That one there, I'm just going to fade that right down towards that border line. Remember, these lines are going to tuck underneath that border, like this is kind of growing up out of it. Now, I find that you guys watching my videos are generally even way more creative than I am. So I'm kind of curious. We took this little pattern and we're using it on a knife sheath, but I want to know, what else do you think that you can use this on? Like, what other projects could you find a use for this pattern?
So no tape on the backside?
Oh, you got me. Good job. There is tape on here. So, good call. I meant to say that earlier, so thank you for bringing that up. But yes, I did tape the back side of this. I didn't tape all the way out to the edges because I know I'm not tooling there, but I taped right down that strip where we're tooling at. Great question. Did I see hat patch? Is that what Brian said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make a cool hat patch, Brian.
I like it. Ready to start shooting says, I see you're not using any new tools, so I'm safe and won't have to go buy them.
Yeah. You gotta watch it. You say tools and they go buy one. Pretty sure. Oh man, it's been a while. Hey, I could be wrong, but is that Russ ready to start shooting?
I'm not. This is my first time joining in the comments, so I'm...
No, I'm asking him.
Oh, is that Russ?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm putting the right name with the right little handle there or not, but
Kim says she'd use it for a small purse, wallet, a hair barrette.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, so this like whole claw clip thing is back in, and you
really?
Yeah, and I've seen some pretty cool leather patches on them. Ron says belt bag flaps or anywhere you want a small decoration.
Okay, let's see.
This is Russ.
Oh, it is Russ. Okay. Awesome. All right, so you can see I wet that down again. This thinner leather is going to dry out a lot quicker on us than thicker leather is, you know, because there's only so far down in there you can get that moisture. And I wanted to get it re-wet down here right before I start beveling, because we're going to go right on and bevel all the way through this and not have to re-wet again, ideally. So remember, key to those smooth bevel lines, even here with the beginner bevel, we're getting a nice smooth bevel line by keeping that bevel straight up and down here, not tipping it real far, and just barely moving that as we're rocking along here. I'm gonna just ease that over each time I'm tapping that down. Okay, so as we're beveling here, any of these lines that end within the vine work, mean they don't run into something, we're going to be fading those out. I lighten up my pressure as we're hitting that. Huh?
It's a little jumpy when you're doing it.
A little jumpy? Oh, maybe I was touching the
I think
camera. Hopefully. I don't think anything's touching it now. Hopefully it's better. Okay, so as we're beveling here, I know beveling is kind of one of those steps that takes a little bit of time. If you guys have any questions, fire them at me. This is a great time for me to kind of answer some of these while we're beveling here.
Reggie would like to know what weight, maul, or size maul do you use?
The size maul, this maul here that I'm using, this is actually the one right out of the beginner's kit as well. I wanted to show this tooling with all of our beginner tools. The one I typically use and I'm tooling every day is my Berry King. It's a 20-ounce maul. This one here in the kit is probably closer to a 16-ounce. So really anywhere between that 16 to 20 would be where I would be. I don't like one much lighter than that, but it's all personal preference on that. Yeah.
Is that the double X beveler?
Double X beveler, no. So good question, but this is actually the bevel right out of our beginner's kit. It's not a Berry King at all, but it's similar in size to a Berry King number 2. That's why I chose it for the kit, and it's pretty steep for, you know, an inexpensive tool. Most starter bevels you get are more like a meat tenderizer, and so we tried to find one that's more of an actual bevel. As far as the actual steepness of it, it's probably somewhere in between a regular Berry King and the extra steep ones. But width-wise, it's close to that number 2. Which it's pretty universal, because even here on some of these little tighter turns, you can see that's where I'm going to tip this a little bit. And by tipping that shortens that face, makes it a little bit narrower, and allows me to get around a little tighter curve. So as I'm tooling here too, I'm curious, have any of you guys checked out Pendleton Cattle Barons? If you haven't, you can check them out at Pendleton Cattle Barons, or at cattlebarons.net. But that's an event coming up here at the beginning of May, and there's a dog and horse sale during the weekend. There's a ranch rodeo, a big trade show with lots of vendors, a barbecue challenge. The whole weekend is a lot of different events that are all working together to raise money for scholarships for kids in agriculture. But it's a really neat event, and part of that is the Western Artistry show and classes. So there's several instructors going to be there teaching different classes. And then we're going to do a live contest on Friday. And the classes are all, I believe, Wednesday, Thursday. So really fun, lots of different opportunities there. I'm teaching a tooling class. Jim Linnell's teaching a few classes. What else? We got Julie Bogger's teaching tote building class. Sue Ellen Correa is teaching a purse class. There's silversmith, moccasins, cinch braiding, all sorts of really cool stuff. So really worth checking out if you guys are looking for an excuse to come to Pendleton.
Kim is saying she's having some issues when she's beveling straight up. I'm getting too much outside the line, especially having problems in tight spaces.
When she's beveling straight up, too much outside the line. Meaning, Kim, tell me, are you getting too much of a shadow out there? Is that what you're saying there? Let me know if that's what we're talking about, so I'm addressing the right question here.
Reggie's saying, do we sell the beveler alone? I will check and see if there's any in stock. Do you know off the top of your head? Do you have any individual ones in stock?
We sell them individually. I'm like 98% certain that we're out of stock on them right now. But
We'll check. Oh, we'll check.
okay. I mean, I've definitely been wrong before. Lots. So might be in luck. But I think we're out of stock on it.
We are.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be getting some more in. Sometimes getting stuff ordered can take some time, so we'll see what we can't do here. Now on this little bottom border that I'm doing, I'm just fading this off a little bit as it goes past that floral line there, or that edge of that vine. And then we get down through to this side. And I'm going to fade that up as well. Now I transferred, well, I didn't transfer it. I marked with my dividers that line just a little bit far there. Not the end of the world. I'm going to take the end of my stylus here. It's got that little kind of modeling spoon side of it. We'll just rub that mark a little bit. Kind of almost erases that. All right, after our beveling, well, I'm actually not quite done beveling here. Forgot, I need to fade this one around. Now, inside this curve, I haven't beveled in there. I'm actually gonna size it down a little bit on this bevel and use the small bevel out of that kit. And this one here will fit in the inside of that little swirl there much easier. Did I see Kim came back with a response there?
She did. She said, yes, too much of a shadow. I feel like the tight areas get mushed down, not crisp like yours. I have two sizes of pear shaded Berry King bevelers.
Two sizes of pear shaded
Berry King bevelers, that's...
maybe checkered bevels, I'm thinking is what we're talking about. So if we're getting too much of a shadow, that means your bevel is a flatter bevel, and you can always tip that back to you a little bit if you want. If you want a little less of a shadow, you know, the other option is to have a bevel that is steeper, so that's more of a steep angle bevel there. That's that XX steep, and that doesn't leave much of a shadow. But if you have, you know, if you're using a flatter type bevel, you know, that's my regular Berry King there, you can tip that back and it's going to make it steeper. You want to hesitate doing it too much because you don't want to be shoving things away from your line, but you can tip that back a little bit as I'm tooling, and that'll make a little bit less of a shadow as you go. So give it a try, Kim. Hopefully that helps you shift just a little bit.
John says, please go slow on the shading of the fold over, please.
Okay, the fold over. This top one up here, I'm guessing is what we're talking about. We'll just do both of them right now. How about that? So this is my vertical line thumbprint. This is not my Berry King, this is the beginner one here. The big difference between the beginner and the Berry King is this front edge is a little more crisp on this beginner one. So meaning you can't rock it quite as much, you get more of an indent. So you gotta keep it a little bit flatter here. But let's do this. I'm gonna use the smaller end of it because it fits in here really nice. I'm gonna come on the bottom side of this. Now the trick with this shading is most times when we shade, I'm looking for a little highlighted ridge out here. Right, so like out on this little sticker vine, I keep that shader just back off that edge to create that little highlighted ridge. In here, I want to get that shader right up next to that line that's folding over, so that shadow goes all the way there. Hey, and you know what? As we're doing this too, I forgot I was going to mention, if you guys are finding value out of this and think these lives that we're doing are helpful, would you do us a favor and just hit that like button on the video itself? That just helps tell YouTube that we're putting out stuff that you guys want to see, and so it helps them show you more of what we're doing there, and more people like you what we're doing. So I would appreciate that greatly if you don't mind. Now with that shading right up next to there, I have it tipped so it's fading that shading out. I'm working that back both ways just to make sure that we're smooth and let it fade off there. So you can see how that really gives more depth to that, like it's rolling around there. Camera's real shaky every time he taps. Yeah. Hang tight with me. I'm just going to move this. Maybe we're on a weird board there or something. I think that's going to be better here. Okay, let's give this a try. Let me try shading this line and see. Is that better? Shaking a little less there.
I've got a pretty good delay on mine.
Oh, okay. Some of them are delayed, I guess. Okay. Much better, they're saying. A lot better. All right. I don't know what is.
Good.
I think maybe the foot of this tripod was touching the table or something. Thank you guys for letting me know that. All right. Now, this top side of the turnover, just in case that's what we were asking about too, we're going to come right out here on the end. We get just a little bit of shading, but I'm fading that off pretty quick. I want to take advantage of this being smoother here and give that appearance of it rolled over. We can take advantage of that smooth area when we come back with our decorative cuts. You can see when we're smoothing that out, just little light taps, barely moving that along there. Real similar to smoothing out that bevel. You can see I created that little highlight ridge down on the bottom side of that. And now we're going to treat this guy just like a little sticker vine here. Get a little bit of shading right out on the end of it. And fade that off there. Now, we got some vines on the inside here. Again, when I'm looking at where I want that little highlighted ridge at, I'm going to go to the rounded curve here, right? That rounded outside of that curve. And then everything else fades off down the vine as we go down there. undercut? Well, we'll say I don't personally use them really. As far as a true undercut bevel, I use what I'll use for kind of an undercut or a lifter when I'm typically tooling is a round bevel from Barry King. It's just the small checkered round bevel, and that one I'll use on the inside of curves to help lift a little bit, but I don't really dig down with an undercut and scoop in there a whole lot.
John says thanks for slowing on the shadowing.
You betcha. You betcha. Did that answer your questions there on that turnover? Hopefully that. I'm guessing if you're saying that, I slowed down enough on it to answer what you're looking at.
Eric says, Joe, I'm such a fan. I'm really excited to purchase the beginner kit and the new die kit you have so I can start practicing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, get you started on the right track there.
I did put a link to that beginner kit because there's only a couple left. So if he's ready to start.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, get on if you want them now, because who knows when they're going to come back in stock. We're working on trying to fix this whole supply situation. But right now, when they come in, they're going fast. So there's a couple left, and I would imagine they're going to be gone by the end of the night. So. Okay, now this little turn back swirl thing here, hope you like those technical terms that I'm using, but I'm going to use this thumbprint and get right down on the inside of that one as well. And you can see that's getting that good burnish. That when we say burnish, we're just talking about the dark color that we're getting.
Kevin just got his deluxe beginner kit and loves it. That's exciting.
All right, Kevin, good. That makes me happy to hear.
And Country Boy Trapped in the City. I love the name. Just is thanking you and says have turned this novice into somebody that he actually can sell my products. Thank you.
Oh, well, good. I'm Country Boy Trapped in the City. That's awesome. I appreciate you following along, and yeah, I'm glad you're getting confidence and progression with what you're doing there. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to set that thumbprint aside there. Leave that be for now. Now, there's a couple spots where I would normally use this little tool that I've ground off and kind of made my own little special lifter is what I'd use in there. But that's not in the beginner's kit, so I'm not going to use it here. I'm going to show you what I would use out of the beginner's kit to make do. I'm going to grab my stylus out of there. Right at the point where these two come together here, I'm going to push down and kind of create a little stop there. It's a small thing, but it makes a difference overall. Same thing where these two come together. Push down and kind of make a little stop. Push down, create a little stop in there. Now, from that, we'll take our mule's foot, a little, wow, that's blurry, a little V-looking tool here. We're going to come right behind where we just put those stops, tipping that tool a little bit because I don't want the full impression. I just want that point. I'm going to hit one, and then I'm going to lighten and fade a couple more right in behind there. So you can see how that looks. Do that all three spots that I just put that stop at. All right. down to a couple tools here. Backgrounds is one thing we need to do. So there's 2 background options in the kit here. There's the bar grounders and there is the matte backgrounder. The first person to reply, bar grounder or matte backgrounder, gets to choose what we're using today. While I'm waiting to see that first reply come in, I'm going to just do a light little hit of water here. Matte backgrounder kit. All right. Kim calls it. Sorry, Connie. Kim beat you out by just a little bit.
Fast fingers.
Yeah. All right. Matte backgrounder. Where did I put the darn thing? It's here in my tool block.
You need me to get you in?
I just had it in my hands. Where did I put it in here? Oh, see? Right there where it's supposed to be. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, matte backgrounder. This one kind of looks like a little tiny miniature meat tenderizer. And that's kind of how we're going to use it. We're just going to put it straight down, straight up and down. And we're going to hit that in there. This one is the most forgiving of the background tools because you can overlap it a little bit. And it's still going to look good. What we're looking to do is get even pressure as we're hitting that down, especially if we have to overlap it, because we don't want to create deeper spots within one area there, if that makes sense. That barely made sense in my mind coming out, but we want it to look even across there as we do it. I want to use that point of it, that pointed end of it, and get down in those corners. And that's going to help get a nice sharp look to those background areas.
Corey is asking about how long did it take you to be able to draw your own patterns? I took your online class and it helped tremendously, but I still need a lot of practice.
All right. Man, good question. And that's where I recommend, we talk about in that course, that practice time each day, just sitting there, sketching down, really helps a lot. How long did it take me to draw my own patterns? Right away. When I started working and tooling, I was getting help from a guy named Ty Skyver, who is a ridiculously awesome artist. Makes me feel stupid still to this day. But I didn't know that you could buy patterns for leather. I mean, honestly, when I started leather, I didn't know you could buy patterns. That was just, if you wanted to tool it, you drew it. And that's how it was. I mean, I tooled a few of his patterns starting with, so he'd draw something out and I'd tool it. But other than that, it was just, that was the way I learned, was if you want to tool it, you draw it. And oh my gosh, so I say right away I did it, but they looked horrible to start with, man. Like, it was just atrocious, the stuff I was tooling. So don't feel bad about it. It takes time. There's still days where I feel like I can't draw. So you'll just continually get better and better as you go. You'll like things a little more and more. So keep at it. Keep at it. You're going to get it. Now for our decorative cuts here. This is my favorite part of tooling because it's the last step that I do. So it's like, hey, we're just about done with this project. But the other thing is it can bring so much life to a pattern. And there is no pattern for decorative cut. There's not one right way to do it. We're just trying to bring life to the pattern. So we're trying to create flow. So think about that. As a rule of thumb, where we've put some shading and shadowing, we're going to probably have some decorative cuts. we want them to start deep and fade to light. And we always want to have a little bit of curve to them because we want to add flow to it. So straight cuts don't add flow. They just look like a cat scratched it. So we don't want cat scratches on your leatherwork. We want to have nice decorative cuts here. Starting deep, fading off, and staggering those cuts too. So I don't have, so anywhere that I'm doing these 2 cuts, 3 cuts, 4 cuts, they're not ending right at the same spot. They're staggering out a little bit. Some are shorter and some are longer.
Ron has a question, can you do this without a swivel knife?
Right, so tooling without a swivel knife, I suppose you can. I don't recommend it. It's really hard to do, but you can. I mean, we can, we can just bevel right into the leather. But again, it's much easier if you actually cut those in. Now, swivel knives are something we do have in stock individually on the website. So if you're just needing a swivel knife to get going, then there's one there for you. It's, a simple starter knife like this. Okay, on this turn back here. So, John, this is gonna go right over top of our shading, but it helps give depth to this too. So there's different ways you can do this in here. There's not one right way, but this is a way that I do kind of really like. So I'm gonna pull some lines, not super deep. These are pretty light. They're going with the curve of that. Okay. I'm gonna turn, and we're gonna come back up the other way, real light. I'll get a little bit deeper as we get up here towards that top, but we'll create that little crosshatch in there. And that just adds a little bit more depth. It really stands that turn back part, that inside part, away from any of your other vines. It looks different, so it draws your eye to that's folding over there. Now the last spot we have to put some decorative cuts is right here in this little swirly turn back thingamabob. That was the technical term I think we used earlier. I'm going to stack a few shorter cuts out there and then draw a longer one that fades around there on that inside. So there we go. We've done it. We've tooled through this. Now again, this is tooling on one of these little project blanks, knife sheath project blank, off the website there. So we'll add that into the description if you want a link to that. And the tools that we used for this whole thing, just the beginner set tools that we offer. And that pattern was out of volume 3, the pattern tooling book, variety pack volume 3. So there's 3 volumes of the books, 1, 2, and 3. If you're looking for this guy, make sure you're in volume 3. Just a quick double check. We got any more questions here?
Yeah, Reggie has a question about the thickness of the blade on a swivel knife. Swivel knives. Most factory blades. Wow. Let me read this again. Is there any advantage of using a thinner blade for a swivel knife as compared to most factory blades that come with most? I have a Tandy one and it is thick.
Well, yeah. I mean, this blade here is one out of our beginner kit. That might be similar to what you have there at Tandy. I'm not sure what they're selling on their knives right now. This will give you some comparisons here. This is my really nice leather Wrangler's knife. And this, if you're going to step up to these, they are definitely an investment, but a really good investment. I love this knife. So it's thinner, but not a ton thinner, really. And then let's grab another one for comparison. This is my no, that's not my Berry King. That's a Leather Wranglers. Here's a Berry King. That's my little blade though. Well, we'll look at that little blade anyways. This is a really fine, thin blade from Berry King. This is also really narrow too. I kind of got it just because I really had to see how it worked. But for comparison too, you look at like this beginner one and here. So look at how much narrower that blade is. But when you're tooling and your knife is down in your leather, we got that tipped up. How much of your blade are you actually using? So really, I can make the same cut with both of these blades here. You know, the nicer knives are gonna run smoother. The blade's gonna stay sharper longer. You know, that cradle spins really more freely. So there's some differences there, but size of the blade, yeah, I think you get used to what you're running. So I don't know. I hope that answers your question a little bit. At least shows you some comparisons there.
Let's see here. I'm gonna wait just a couple of minutes or seconds to see if any more questions pop in. But
All right.
Miss Connie says that she loves the weight bag
Oh, good.
and ready to start shooting. Says is thanking you for your books and lives.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you being on here. Everybody taking the time here. You know, when you guys invest your time to watch one of our videos and stay on, I mean, we got a pile of people on here, 70 people or so it's showing me right now still. You know, I appreciate that. It tells me you're getting value out of what we're doing. So gives some encouragement to continue bringing different videos and products to you. I appreciate you allowing us to be on this leather journey with you. Oh,
they love this.
yes.
They should check out the live classes that we have coming up.
Oh,
If they want to come down to Pendleton.
yes. If you want to come to Pendleton, don't forget, we've sent some announcements out, but you've been asking me about live classes, and I've told you they're coming. Well, they are here. We have them up and live on the website. So if you go to the website, click on the live classes, or you can go to the calendar, and it shows you right on the calendar when the classes are, and you can click them right from there. We have beginners tooling, we have an intermediate tooling, we have belt construction classes. So a whole lineup coming to you here really just a few weeks. March starts our classes, and those are going to be in the new shop. If you've been following along on Instagram, there's some big excitement. We're moving just a block down the road to a big space. We'll have a full-time classroom set up. So there's still, I think, a few spots to get in that first class. If you want to be in the very first class in the new building, I invite you to jump on there and check that out. So the classes that we're doing live, they're all limited small number classes. So the most we're taking in any of the classes is 6. That keeps a ton of one-on-one time. And I don't like teaching classes with more than that, because I like to give you as close to a one-on-one class in a group setting as we can. And it allows me to shift my teaching per student and really focus on your needs and what you need to do. And I can pay attention to each student a lot better that way, because a lot of times when you're tooling, I can show you in the video and I can look at your results and give you updates, you know, and critiques on your work. But sometimes it's the little things that I see or hear, you know, when you're wetting or not wetting your leather, little tweaks that you're doing on your tools that I can say, nope, tip that a little bit right there, and you'll notice a huge difference. So that's the big advantage of those classes, and that's why I keep the low numbers there.
Miss Connie wants to know if the belt construction classes include tooling.
The belt construction classes, they do, but it depends on your skill set coming into the belt construction classes as to how much tooling or what tooling we do. somebody who's never touched tools before can come take that tooling class, and they'll wind up doing a stamped belt and learn how to stamp and get right along with it. Somebody with more experience, we're gonna do either tooled ends, maybe a full tool belt. Again, it really depends on that. The reason why I say it depends is because we want to match where each student is at and try to end at roughly the same time, and I want everybody to be able to complete their project throughout that class. So there is some tooling. It just depends on where your level is coming in as to what's going on there. And that's where, again, we can kind of cater to different levels within that same class with it being low numbers.
And that's all the questions that we've got for this evening.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you again for investing your time and money to learn with us here. And any questions you guys have, be sure to shoot those out to me, and we'll try to answer those the best we can, either in the comments or on another video. So take care, and we'll see you at the next video.